Hi, this is Emma at Steel&Stitch. Today we're going to be making the traditional granny square. I think it's where most people start when they learn how to make anything in crochet, and it actually gives you a lot of really useful skills. It shows you how to work in the round, it shows you how to work around a chain space or into a chain space, and it shows you how to work and make a central foundation circle, which is the beginning of stuff like hats or actually any granny blanket. Stuff like this chap here will be exactly the same. Oh, and in fact even this chap here, these all start with a circle, so you learn a lot from making a granny square, which is why we're going to do it. I am using a yarn called Cleo. It's a yarn called Cleo by Debbie Bliss, and it's not a spun yarn, so it's not plied and twisted, so it should give really clear definition again. It's actually made from, I think it's like a cotton tube almost, covering like a foam centre. So it's quite unusual, but it's really nice to use. It's very smooth and very easy, and again for you chaps should work really well because you should be able to see those stitches really, really clearly. Okay, we're going to do 3 rounds, so it's a slightly longer video than the first couple have been, but you don't have to watch all of it, although it is useful because once you've worked out how to start each of these, there's the centre bit, then you've got this round here which is one way of starting, and then this one here which gives you another way, and once you've nailed those two you've pretty much got everything you need. Okay, enjoy it. Any questions, feel free to email. Really nice and zoomed in, really nice and close so you can see what's going on. What we need to do is start by making a foundation chain of 4. So we do our slip stitch, and then we're going to work our 4 chain. This can vary. As you get better at doing this, you'll find that you don't need such a big loop to begin with, but what this 4 chain will do is it's going to make up the loop into which we work the central clusters of our granny square. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our hook into the 4th chain, or from the hook, or the first one that we made, and we're going to do a slip stitch, so yarn over and pull through both of those. And what we've done is we've made a little loop there. Can you see that? Right there's the centre. And that is what we're going to start working into. We're going to do all of our first round working our hook through that central hole. So we're going to chain 3, and this chain 3 is going to be the first stitch of a cluster of 3. Of 3 trebles in English, doubles in American. So what we do now is we're going to yarn over and do that treble. We're going to do it by putting our hook through that centre hole. So he goes in here, like that. We're going to yarn over and pull that through. So what we've done is we've started by working into that hole. Now we're going to finish that treble stitch, so yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through the last 2. So that's 1 chain, which is chain 3 stitch, 1 treble stitch. So we need to do another one to finish our cluster of 3. So we're going to go back into that centre hole, just like that. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull that through the centre hole, and we're going to finish our treble by doing a yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've made our first set of clusters. Now we need to make a corner, and to do that we chain 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go work back into that centre hole again, doing another set of 3 treble cluster. So we're going to yarn over, put our hook through that hole, yarn over, pull it through. And what you'll see is I'm starting to work over this tail. I'm holding him nice and close to my loop and working over him so that at the end I don't have any ends to sew in because I've worked them all in. So we're going to do another one, again working over that end, going through that centre loop. So yarn over, go through that centre loop, yarn over and pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we need to do the 3rd one, so we're going to yarn over and do our final one of this cluster, going through the hole again, yarning over and pull through 2, pull through 2. So what you'll see there is we've got 1 cluster and a corner and another cluster, so we need to make another corner by chaining another 3. 1, 2, 3. So you see it's starting to take shape. So we're going to yarn over, again straight back through that centre circle. You'll see it's starting to become clearer the more clusters we've got in it. And go in there, grab that yarn and pull him through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to do another 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, I'm going to speed up as I do this, but you can pause and slow down as much as you like. So we've got 2 corners and 1, 2, 3 clusters. So we need another corner, another chain 3, and then our final 3 cluster is going back in that centre there. And as I said earlier, you can actually make this smaller if you like. You can do it with a 3 chain, a 2 is a bit of a faff. There's something called a magic circle, which means there's no hole at all, and I'll show you that on another tutorial. But there we go, we've got 1, 2, 3 clusters. We just need to make our last corner, and then we're going to do a slip stitch to finish this off. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can do it by putting your hook between the 2 posts, that first one, around that chain, like that, or you can find the 1, 2, 3, third chain stitch from that first chain you made at the very beginning, and pop your hook in there, yarn over and pull through there. It's just preference. In the beginning I used to do it around the chain, now I tend to do it through the stitch. So that's the beginning of our square. We're going to do the next round. Now what we do is we do a 3 chain. It's just like we do at the start, and the beginning of every round you will do this, because that, as you'll see, that gives you the height. It's just like when you're working in a row of triple crochets. Now what we want to do is we want to skip across here, don't we, so we can start working into this corner. So we're going to do another chain 2. So all together you've done 5 chain, and we're going to start working into this corner here now. So just like we worked through the centre of that circle, we're going to start working around this chain through that loop there. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to do a 3 cluster just like we've been doing. So 1 treble crochet. Now I know in the very beginning when I did my first video I said I was going to use American terminology, but I think because I'm teaching an English class at the moment, it makes sense to do it using English terminology. So there's our first set of treble clusters. We're going to do a chain 3 because we're going to make another corner, and then what we're going to do is going to work into that same space right there, and you'll see in a minute that that creates that very classic granny corner. So 1, 2, 3. You see, there it is, that corner. Now we're going to need to jump across this gap. There are lots of ways of doing this, lots and lots. Some people don't do any chains at all. Some people do a chain 1. I'm going to do a chain 2 because at the moment it's easier for you to see what I'm doing if there's a nice clear space. But this really is, I mean, it's such an old pattern, and everybody's got a way of making a granny square. This is the way I've learned, and actually it's one of the easier ways to teach. So after that chain 2, we're going to start working into the next corner. We're going to do just what we did in this corner, 2 sets of triple clusters and a chain 3 to make that corner. So we've got yarn over, we're going in here, we're going to loop up and pull that through. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do another chain 3. We're going to do just the same. We're going back into that same corner there. So we're going to yarn over and go in there. And this is where you can see how this Debbie Bliss Clio really comes into its own, because it's not splitty, because it's like it's a woven cotton, I think, over a foam centre, and it gives such clear definition. It's not as bulky as the spaghetti to use, and actually it's easy, really easy to show you what's going on with it. So now we need to jump across that gap again. So I'm going to do another chain 2 because that jumps us across this space here, and I'm going to start working into that next corner. And you see how it's starting to take that granny shape. I'm going to yarn over and pop it in there, and we're going to do another 2 sets of 3 with a chain 3 to make that corner. I know I've sped up again, but that's to get you round this round, and you can slow this down and pause it wherever you need to. But a granny square becomes one of the most compulsive things that everybody makes. It's one of the first things people make. Now I'm going to chain 2 to jump across that gap, because once you get into the flow and the rhythm of it, you can keep going, and you can either do blankets that go round and round and round and get bigger and bigger, or you can make separate squares and put them all together. with all sorts of colours and all sorts of, they become really intricate patterns as well sometimes if you want to. Anyway, right, so we're going into this corner here now, the very last one. So we're doing our chain 2 to jump across, we're doing our 3 sets of trebles to fill in that corner, we're doing our chain 3 to make the corner. And then what we're going to do is, because we've got this post here, where we started we did that chain 3 to make the first stitch and the chain 2 to jump across the gap. So we've got 1 stitch already, so we only need 2 to finish this cluster. So we're going to make 1, 2, and then we're going to do what we did at the very beginning, or in the last round rather, and count up. And I am going to work through that 3rd chain up in this one. So what we've got there is the beginning of our granny square. Now what I want to do is I'm actually going to slip stitch around that chain 2. Did you see that? I'll do it again. Because what I want to do is I want to start my next cluster in this gap here. So I'm slip stitching and putting my hook under that chain. So I'm right in the middle, and then I'm going to do a chain 3, and I'm going to do another 2 trebles right in there, just like we were doing. And then you've got the next cluster of that row. So we need to do exactly the same all the way around. I'm going to shut up now and I'm just going to make it as fast as I can so that you can see as it goes, and again you can slow it down or pause it wherever you need to. See, we're working into that central cluster now. So everywhere you've got a space, you're going to put a cluster of 3, and every corner you're going to do 2 clusters of 3 separated by a chain 3 to make that corner shape. I don't know if you can hear that, it's gentle rain on the window outside. It's actually a very, very grey day here in the UK. And it's supposed to be the first day of summer. And everyone's had their umbrellas and raincoats out already. It's kind of lovely though. You can see we're working that around, it's building up and building up. And now this is the last corner, so you see I'm doing my final treble. And what I need to do is just join up that gap at the top, so I'm going to chain 2, and exactly like we just did, I'm going to find my 1, 2, 3rd stitch, chain up, I'm going to slip stitch through there. And that is how you make a granny square. And you can keep going and just keep going, and you can change colour as often as you like. We'll do changing colour on another demo. But that's all you need.